Thank you, George, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And to those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. In our last webinar, we discussed how new enterprise software is transforming the digital business scene by offering new solutions to familiar problems. And we saw together how the next generation BPM tools, BPMN, CMMN, and DMN, are enabling cross-organizational collaboration and process optimization in ways that weren't available before now. Today, we'll be shifting our topic of focus to discuss one of the biggest questions for any stakeholder in the transformation process. And that question is, what about my current processes and operations? We'll also go over expert opinions and best practices for how to reduce transformation's impact on your organization. And finally, we'll discover how new enterprise-centric tools like the Trisotech Digital Enterprise Suite are going beyond standardization and offering organizations multiple ways of retaining, reusing, and improving their current documented processes. As we all know by now, every successful company is becoming a technology company. Today's business leaders want IT focused on business results, innovation, and digital transformation. Meanwhile, spending on IT activities is also being scrutinized for how it will impact improving the customer experience, pushing innovation, and lowering cost, while also assuring regulatory compliance. In a Forbes article featuring Altimeter Group's State of Digital Transformation report, released just over a year ago, the central conclusion of the report states that only 1/4 of the companies we surveyed had a clear understanding of new and underperforming digital touchpoints. Yet 88% of the same group reports that they are undergoing digital transformation efforts. In other words, the vast majority of people interviewed for this report claim that they're undergoing digital transformation, even though most of them have no idea what it really is. The article goes on to explain the challenge with this wasn't the investment in technology, but rather the realignment of business models presented the greatest challenge, the transformation part of digital transformation, if you will. In fact, different people had different misconceptions, and most of the time this was based on their role. And in most cases, the companies interviewed were thinking that they were changing, but in reality, they were only investing in technology. And as we all know by now, that's not really digital transformation. Now let's fast forward to today and take a look at a recent paper, Getting the Enterprise on Board with Digital Transformation, published by Dell in 2016. The paper says, not only is digital transformation moving from tactical projects to strategic enterprise-wide initiatives, it's also garnering acceptance among companies that were previously skeptical about its broad-reaching impact. Specifically, the study found that 44% of respondents in 2016 are pursuing enterprise-level digital transformation, compared to only 30% in 2015. That's a 14% increase in just 1 year. They go on to say that specifically there has been significant traction made over the last year among non-believers across multiple industries who now recognize the potential of digital technologies as a change agent for business transformation. And looking over this data and knowing now that we're talking about enterprise-level transformation, we find that we clearly need to take a step back and remind ourselves of what digital transformation really means before we proceed with confidence. As we covered in our first webinar, digital transformation is an ongoing process that can be simplified and broken down to 3 major components: transformation, innovation, and improvement. Transformation is defining new ways to do things and consolidating how things get done, and automating how things get done. Innovation is introducing new things to do, and continuous improvement is capturing how things get done and improving how things get done. As defined by the Altimeter Group, digital transformation is the realignment of or new investment in technology and business models to more effectively engage digital customers at every touchpoint in the customer experience lifecycle. In other words, even though there is more than one definition for digital transformation, it's always more than just transforming physical assets to digital counterparts, and it almost always requires a new way of viewing your organization. Business transformation is about finding and successfully pursuing a new business model. IT transformation is finding out how to make IT a strategic partner for the business to support the organization's business goals. And digital transformation is finding out what data can do for your business. Combined together, these elements form the cornerstones of enterprise-focused digital business transformation. Now it gets to the interesting question, how to go about transformation. As we all know by now, there's no magic pill for digital transformation, but there's plenty of expert opinions and advice on how to get this done. Here are some guidelines to help you get started. 1, look at the forest but focus on the trees. Because all evidence points out that digital transformation is business transformation, it's essential for business leaders to maintain a big picture of all the moving parts in the organization and focus on what needs to be changed. 2, let your business goals lead the way. On why business outcomes should shape IT architecture, McKinsey & Companies. It starts with an effort to define the architectural design in a language the business can understand, with outcomes that serve its need more fully and effectively, thus improving communication and helping the business and IT leadership to collaborate in developing the IT architecture. This wider engagement puts ownership in the hands of the end users, the business professionals, and therefore makes it easier for the required changes to stick and improves the overall governance. What McKinsey is talking about here is a new organizational alignment to manage and fund IT initiatives that not just includes business people, but that business leaders drive. And they say that companies that have taken this approach have lowered their need for architectural development labor by as much as 30% and reduced times to market for new applications by 50%. 3, business IT partnership mindset. To do this, the IT leaders and their teams should view themselves as driving instructors. Simply put, the business leader wanting an outcome is in the driving seat, and IT sits by their side. Their job is to show the business how to drive at the right speed for a particular situation and a set of conditions to reach their desired outcomes. 4, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. The focus of any transformation effort should be on changing what needs to be changed in order to improve the bottom line, which always connects to the customer. So, for example, if you're unable to innovate to respond to customer demand at the right speed for the market, then by all means, all your energies should go into making the changes necessary to become a more agile organization. And this will likely include moves to next generation BPM tools and agile architecture. Finally, reduce, reuse, recycle. Don't discount or throw away your current processes. In a survey, The Importance of Linking Business Outcomes to IT Investment Strategy, conducted by IDG and published in 2016 by DataLink, the findings included that 38% of respondents believe that increasing standardization will drive better outcomes, and 56% of respondents are thinking of streamlining their operational processes to more effectively drive business outcomes through IT investments. The problem is that you can't really automate or improve your processes if you don't know what they are. And if you discover them without standardizing and streamlining them, then you're not gaining anything in your quest to change your business models. Discovering and validating these business models should be a responsibility of your business leaders and not just IT. But to do this, the existing architecture tools needed to evolve to allow the business users to drive this process. And that's exactly where we are today. According to a previously cited study by IDG, one of the primary drivers of scaled agile success will be the increased availability and implementation of enterprise-focused tools that make agile methods more effective and more accessible for the enterprise. That's why today's top organizations are utilizing enterprise software, process frameworks, and reference models. These new tools are changing by going beyond standardization and offering new ways for process discovery, stakeholder collaboration, and the ability to retain, reuse, and improve your current documented processes. And now we'll take a peek at examples of how new enterprise-focused software, in this case the Trisotech Digital Enterprise Suite, has evolved to really enable your success in the digital journey. First up, we have the Discovery Accelerator. The Discovery Accelerator is a business user-friendly tool to align your operations and strategy in the first step towards a more detailed and adaptable business architecture modeling. The Discovery Accelerator broadens the audience for business architecture, bringing the architecture to the business. And then these conceptual models can be exported from the Discovery Accelerator in standard BPMN or CMMN format. And we'll see how that's done in our demo in a few minutes. In addition to the power of process discovery, you also get the power of next generation BPM, BPMN, CMMN, and DMN, the leading international business modeling standards produced by the Object Management Group in recent years. These models represent three core management practices in every organization. They provide us with a common notation and a common file format that tools can interchange, and in turn, this gives us a common and readily transferable skill that can be learned by analysts to power the next generation of BPM. And then we have the accelerators. Accelerators are pre-built collections of processes used to build new models to increase your efficiency by leveraging existing resources. One of the most important facets of the accelerator is the ability to leverage best practices published in the industry-recognized reference frameworks, or ontologies, and also capitalize on material published by your own organization in different architecture tools. And the Trisotech Digital Enterprise Suite has it all. But don't take our word for it. According to Digital Transformation Depends Upon Next Generation Architecture Tools, an article by Jason Bloomberg in Forbes Tech, he says, the Digital Enterprise Suite enables both technical as well as non-technical people to participate in the enterprise architecture and business architecture discovery and modeling. People across the digital spectrum can thus use the suite to gain insights into relationships among models. In fact, perhaps the most interesting feature of the Trisotech platform is how it leverages its underlying semantic graph to tie every business entity together across models. And now we'll come to our use case presentation, EU Rent Goes Digital, where we're going to see what Jason Bloomer was talking about and how the Trisotech DES really works to combine all the elements of the organization together. And you should be able to see my Trisotech Enterprise Server screen right now. And to start this, I'm going to go into the Discovery Accelerator. So I'm going to open a new blank page now. And here I'm going to start with a strategy and plan made by the business people. So the first step here is deciding on what the organizational goals will be and how to go about achieving them. And one of the most effective ways business teams can plan their enterprise strategy is by following a business goal-based discovery process. So to do this, to go here, and I'm going to actually start with a template, which is my balanced scorecard boards template. And here I see that I have my financial, customer, internal business process, and learning and growth goals already mapped out for me. So as a business user, I'm able to define what my financial needs are. So here, for example, one of EU Rent's financial goals is 900 million in revenue for next year. And for their customer goals, they want to assure at least 98% car availability at all locations. For internal business processes, they want to do something like reduce time per process to under 5 minutes. And for learning and growth, we can say at the most 5% employee turnover by next year. And as you see here, these are business goals that are defined by business people in layman terms. They just get the point across, and these are the goals that we want to work towards. And then to achieve these goals, I can start by adding an activity. Since EU Rent is a car rental company, I'm going to start a car rental activity. And here I can start with something like request the car model online. And if I go to the back of the card here, I'll see that I have my W5s. So I can add an actor. In this case would be the customer. And they are requesting a car model in the online reservation system to request car online. And I'm going to close this. Now I'll see here that I have my customer, my car model, and my online reservations. All this came from the back of this card. I'll also notice that I have request car online created as a new goal here under the financial goals. But I know that this doesn't belong here. So I know that this should belong under the customer goals. So I'm just going to drag it here. And then further, someone points out that request a car online should be one of the sub goals of assuring at least 98% car availability. So all I have to do here is just click on it, drag it over here, and it becomes a sub-goal of this. Now, for those of you that attended the first webinar, you know that this process was done before. I actually created this before, and if we look over here, this is what it's supposed to look like after it's completed. Now, what I want to do here is I want to show you how to use the accelerators. So to get my process from this to here, I'm going to reuse the same elements that I created before in my own repositories, and I'll show you how to do that. So first, I'm going to go here, and you'll see that I have many accelerators. I have the case-wise EU-Rent Business Architecture, Sparks EA, APQC. These are a combination of reference frameworks and repositories of processes that you've created using some of these frameworks. So if I want to use something like APQC Process Classification Framework, this is a cross-industry framework that I can just use different elements from to improve my current process. So even though this is the as-is, I can create something that's even better and compare the two to make sure that I'm following a solid framework. So if I go under process definitions here, I can just literally open this up and take 1.1 altogether and drop it down here. And now I see that all the parts of process definitions, develop vision and strategy, part 1.1 was dropped into my process. And I can then take these elements and customize them based on my needs for my organization. So identify economic trends. If this isn't done in my organization, I can just go ahead and delete it completely. And I can actually go ahead and change this, for instance, to marketing team task 1. And as you can see, if I highlight over here, I can see which parts of this framework I'm actually using right now. And the one that got deleted was identify economic growth. And if I go into this over here and click on the semantic linking for it, I'll see that this was actually called identify political and regulatory issues. So even though I'm customizing it, I know exactly where it is and where it belongs on this framework. I can also come here to my digital enterprise. Second, move this over here. So this is the Digital Enterprise Graph Accelerator, and this actually contains all the information from your organization. So all the information that's over here, participants, car rental activities, all the goals as well, can be imported from over here, Webinar EU Rent. And if I go to BCS Strategy and Planning, I'll see that I have all my goals that I haven't completed defining. So I can just take customer goals and drop it over here. I can take internal business processes and drop it over here. And then I can combine this with this if I see that it still belongs here, or I can delete it if it's redundant. Learning and growth as well. So as you can see, you can reuse all these elements, and if you go to the back of these, you'll be able to see all the stuff that relates to them. So if I take participants, for instance, and I drop it over here, I'm able to see that under customer, If there was a user story, responsibilities, W5, all the RACs are completed for me here as well. So this information actually carries when we use these accelerators because they've been redefining your organization. And as you can see, anything that's used from the accelerator will be highlighted here. So you can see that this comes from an accelerator and you're not creating it from scratch. So you can identify which parts you're actually creating right now and which parts have been used from the accelerator. I also have the ability to use standard operation procedures. So this right here is an EU rent general operations procedure document that I literally just took and pasted here. And to do that, I just come to the document that I want, and I'm copying this. And then I just come to the text part over here, and I go ahead and I paste it. And working with this text, I can highlight all the parts that I want to include in my process, or I can simply just keep it here for reference. And to highlight the parts that I want to use, all I have to do is just, go over EU rent, click on actor. This will be an actor, actors collection, name. Since I have multiple actors collections here, they're going to ask me which one this is. So I'm going to drop it in this one, or participants. And customers would also be another actor. And if I go back to my board, I'll see that EU rent and customers were added here. Now I'm going to open a more complete process to show you what this looks like when we import it to the BPMN modeler and how we can create a report for this. So I'm going to open an example from my repository here, which is the Acme Complete. And here you see a pretty complete process. We have a text that was used here. Everything is highlighted like we did before. We also have the relation charts, so you can set actors and activity, RACI charts, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. We can also change this from actor and activity to artifact and activity for your input-output. And then I can take this and I can create an HTML report for it. And all I have to do is just click over here and identify which parts of this I want to use and click Generate. And here we'll be able to see a complete report of this process, starting with the document that we used, going all the way to the artifacts, summary breakdown, time, processing time, onboarding, and this is all created in an instant. All you have to do is just put your information in there in the Discovery Accelerator, and this is created for you. And then from here, I can click on BPMN 2.0, and this will open up in my BPMN browser. And as you can see here, this is a pretty well drawn diagram. I started with this, which was defined almost completely by business people by using a combination of accelerators, standard operation procedures, documentation, and just creating it as they're going. And it created this, which can then be a starting point for my technical folk to start actually putting the attributes and the different parts of the BPMN process diagram to make it really adhere to the requirements of the process. But my business people were completely involved. They identified the goals, they identified the ways and strategies they're going to reach these goals, and then they handed off to the IT people to get their job done. So this is where the partnership between business and IT really comes in. All right, so to summarize what we covered today, enterprise-level digital transformation is here, and it's actually gaining a lot of traction, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. If anything, people are realizing that, To really achieve agile transformation on enterprise level, these new tools need to be used. And to successfully undergo enterprise-wide digital transformation, we need to understand that it's more than just investing in new technologies. You need to reassess your organization and reassess the roles and how you want to achieve your end results. And new enterprise software like the Trisotech DS is actually helping organizations make the most of their current documents and processes and improving them and standardizing them. We offer tools to solidify your company's processes, standards, and strategies, the ability to visualize your current business readiness and align your processes with globally recognized goal-focused frameworks or your own frameworks that you've created over decades and years. And next generation BPM tools, BPMN, CMMN, and DMN, will be your way for smarter and more agile processes in your organization. And companies that adopt new tools and follow this approach will absolutely start to see their enterprise scale transformation at work. And don't forget to tune in next time. Our next webinar will be a month from now on September 29th, and that will be process simulation and process animation. We'll discuss, again, digital transformation challenges and how process simulation and animation will be two power tools for the future of the digital enterprise. And George, I'm going to pass you back this so we can take some questions before we conclude.
Great. We've got a couple of them here, Omar. One from Raymond saying, hello, will the slide deck be sent to us after the webinar?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, great. I think we're almost out of time. We have one more question from Sally. Is this cloud software?
Yes, it is. This is cloud-based. You can access it from any HTML5 browser. We do have options for on-premise, but we're mostly cloud-based offering.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Omar, and thank you for all attending. We'll look forward to seeing you at the next webinar. Bye-bye.
Thank you.